Well, what's going on, guys? Welcome to this very special edition of the Main Event Talk right here on YouTube. If you guys went to my Instagram and went to my tout, you know what's going on. And, there's a lot of things. I had an opportunity to look at what was going on and looked into the WWE website. Several superstars have been released from the WWE, and let me tell you something. There's a few of them that are long overdue, and there are others that should not be released. Now, I've always been careful of what WWE has to offer and what WWE has to bring to the table in many ways possible. But how is it that you can release certain superstars, certain potentially great superstars, get them out of your roster, and then let them go on to whatever place that they have to, come out of? Like for instance, how is it that you can release guys like John Morrison and Shelton Benjamin and several great talents of that particular nature? Why in the world would you do that? But anyways, let me go ahead. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to touch on the subject of that in just a moment, but let me go ahead and start by talking about a few things. Got to get a few promos out of the way. As you know, later on tonight, Game 4 of the NBA Finals is happening as we speak. Let's see. The Spurs are up 2, and the Heat is up 1. So Game 4 right now. The main event is pretty much picking the Heat for obvious reasons and many ways possible. And I know what everyone's thinking. Oh, come on, Furman. The San Antonio Spurs are the best basketball team in history, man. I mean, they're from Texas. Well, the main event's from Texas too, but I'm also an individual that looks into the future, not look at what happened a long time ago, okay? So I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The dynasty will fall, and the franchise will rise. I've said that on Twitter about I don't know how many times. If you guys want to figure out what that means, find out until Game 7 rolls around, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Now, before I talk about the releases of WWE, let's talk about what happened this past Monday night on Raw with the whole thing with Seth Rollins. Now, I know a lot of people have asked the questions, has Seth Rollins joined Evolution? Now, from what I've been reading and from what I can tell, pretty much Evolution is done. I mean, I think Evolution is finished, which personally to me, I'm glad it's over with because, I like the original Evolution when it was all about Ric Flair, Triple H, a young Randy Orton who was known as the Legend Killer, and a young Animal Batista. Though that was the part of Evolution I dig the most. But after 2004 and 2005, pretty much their careers had skyrocketed into places it's never been to before. Evolution now, with Batista, Randy Orton, and Triple H, I mean, it's still a good combination, but unfortunately, you can't really see Evolution moving on to something bigger and brighter. You just can't. I mean, the old saying goes is, been there, done that, let's move on. Which speaks highly of the Shield. You see, nobody ever expected the Shield to break up. Nobody. Not even I did. But it was a big surprise to all of us. And it's one of those deals in wrestling where I always like a good surprise. You know why I like a good surprise so much? Is because there's so many people on the internet that want to try and look into something and say, you know what, we're glad we found out about this before it even happens. But when nobody knows, when the internet wrestling community has no idea, when the wrestling fans have no idea what's going on, the WWE goes ahead and takes that one little surprise and twisted it all around and make everyone believe that they knew nothing about it. And I'm glad that the WWE heads off to Triple H, by the way, for pulling it off. The fact that Seth Rollins would turn his back on the Shield 1 week ago, the biggest shocker in the history. I mean, I can't say it's a bigger shocker than when The Undertaker lost to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30, and we have to be constantly reminded by Paul Heyman about every 25 days to 15 million seconds or something like that. But nonetheless, it is what it is. It happened. And you notice this. The Shield is obviously no more. You can tell easily. Even though Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns are still members of the Shield, they can't exactly be called the Shield. And it wouldn't fit either. Because, to me, you can't have Evolution without having Ric Flair involved in Evolution. You can't have the Shield without having Seth Rollins in there. So, if you'll notice, I mean, yeah, Seth Rollins came out, did his interview with Michael Cole, and talk about the evolution of Seth Rollins, evolving, believe in Seth Rollins and everything, which I got to admit, I do believe in Seth Rollins. I dig him. He's a tremendous athlete. He's a great talent, and I see nothing but big things happening for him. But not only him, I also see big things happening for Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns. So even though the Shield is no more, and let's call it like we see it, guys, the Shield is officially over. Even though it's still Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose, you won't hear the Shield that much. I mean, you'll probably hear the name once or twice, but you won't see Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins as Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns as a Shield. It just doesn't connect that way, because if you try to put a third member on there, it doesn't exactly fit. It does not. I mean, I'm an individual that prefers the original a whole lot more than once was. It's like Van Halen a long time ago, when it was with, the lead singer was David Lee Roth, great singer, Then you add Sammy Hagar to the mix, some people dig it. It was a great deal, but it didn't, didn't click, what I'm saying? It didn't fit the way it goes. I could give you so many examples about what I'm talking about, but the only thing is for certain, Seth Rollins is pretty much moving on away from the Shield, and the whole thing with Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose, I see something huge coming. I don't know what it is exactly, but whatever is coming between Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose, it's sure to be big. How big? I don't know. I'm not sure. Wherever it goes, we'll see where all this takes place soon. And don't forget, Money in the Bank is coming real soon. And word is, and I found out about this, that Alberto Del Rio is in it, Sheamus is in it, Randy Orton's in it, and Antonio Cesaro, he's in it as well. There's 3 opening spots left. Now, I heard Bray Wyatt is going to be a part of it, which is a good idea. I also heard that, John Cena is supposed to be a part of the whole situation. Why you would put Cena in there, I don't know. But we kind of see where all this is coming into place. So check on that, see what happens. Now, we're going to get off the subject of that for a moment, and let's talk about the releases of WWE. Let's talk about who was released and why. The following list that I saw on WWE.com goes like this. JTG is released from the WWE. And there's a lot of people right now that are saying, thank God he's released, finally. Lord knows I have. Brodus Clay is released from the WWE. Evan Bourne. Drew McIntyre. Jinder Mahal. Referee Mark Harris. Let's see, who else am I missing? Asana, she's gone. Teddy Long has been released as well. Yoshitatsu. I think I mentioned Evan Bourne, right? Did I? Or, well, probably not, but Evan Bourne, he's released as well. Kurt Hawkins, he's been released as well. And I think that's the list that I see on WWE.com. Now, let me start by going ahead. I'm probably going to go through each individual, so that way you guys can get an idea of what I'm thinking about as far as those superstars go. Now, first of all, JTG, let me tell you something. There's a lot of fans right now, millions of fans all over the world right now, that are so glad that he's released from the WWE finally. Now, I don't have anything against him. It's just that I know, and everyone else knows, JTG is pretty much famous for being in a tag team known as Crime Time. And let me tell you something. It would have been great if Crime Time was still together. I would have loved to have seen them become, not just as a tag team again, but also see them as the WWE World Tag Team Champions. It would have been great to see that, but we knew that his career was going off. He had to get out of here one way or another. I've read so many emails, I've read so many tweets, and so many, Facebook posts about the same thing. When the fuck are they going to release JTG from the WWE, man? I mean, he's already getting to that point. He's not that entertaining anymore. Get him the fuck out. And sure enough, they did. And thank God WWE has finally decided to pull that off. Now, Yoshitatsu, I want to talk about him. Great wrestling talent. I saw him in ECW a long time ago, and I mean the ECW during the WWE days, not the ECW from a long time ago, because the only difference between the ECW and the WWE and the ECW from a long time ago is that the ECW from a long time ago was interesting, entertaining, and it was extremely violent. The ECW and the WWE, well, what the hell was that? That's all you can come up with at this point. But anyways, Yoshitatsu, great talent, great Japanese superstar. He's also another superstar that I've just wanted him to just go away. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great talent, but I think it would be better for him just to be somewhere else in the WWE, or maybe in TNA, or maybe in Ring of Honor. I mean, he's such a great talent in every way possible, but what in the hell is the WWE going to do with Yoshitatsu? Boy, glad he's out of the mix. Now, Kurt Hawkins, how is it that, I still hear his name and everything. I thought he was released from the WWE a long time ago, but I guess he was still there, but now they officially decided to release Kurt Hawkins. You know him quite well as a tag team of the Majors a long time ago. I believe he was also with Zack Ryder. I remember that. Great tag team and stuff. And then after, how is it that Zack Ryder would become a bigger star than he does? Well, everyone knows that Zack Ryder had went on, became U.S. champion and all that stuff, got his own show on YouTube and everything else like that. We know that Kurt Hawkins has got his own, I believe he's got a wrestling facility somewhere. I think it's up in Tampa. I could be wrong. But I know Kurt Hawkins. I don't know. I mean, with him, I just thought he was released a long, long time ago. I haven't really heard much of him except in, Twitter and, all the other stuff. I don't even know what the hell's going on with that guy. All I know is he's there, he's gone, he's finished. Let's move on. Now, Evan Bourne. Let me tell you something about Evan Bourne. Great talent, great superstar. WWE fucked up on Evan Bourne in a huge way. That's my opinion. Reason why is this. Evan Bourne, last time we heard anything about Evan Bourne, he had a leg injury, a torn leg, foot, or something like that, and he's been gone for 550 years. And no one has heard anything from him. All I know is Evan Bourne has been in the WWE for quite a while. He was part of ECW also. And I mean the ECW with the WWE. That Evan Bourne. He was a great tag team champion with Kofi Kingston. And I would have loved to have seen bigger and better things for him if the WWE were to just, push him to the next level. But it hasn't happened yet. You see, when I see Evan Bourne to me is like a phenomenal AJ Styles. That's what he reminded me of so much. Just the look, the presentation, and the way he does things in the ring. I love him. He's awesome. But since the WWE chooses to release him, let me tell you something. My personal opinion on Evan Bourne being released from the WWE, thank God he's out of the WWE. And the reason for that is the WWE has not used him. I mean, the only time he's been used, I believe, was when he appeared on NXT. And that was it. And I'm like, oh, come on. You got this great young talent. Sure, he's had multiple injuries done to him in every way